we go. Oh, that looks good. Look at that. Man, that's rich. The release process, not needing as much fertilizer or no fertilizer and almost no herbicide, has resulted in a tremendous amount of excitement. But we get a lot of emails saying, you know, Grant, boy, I got a pretty small property, or I don't have access to a tractor or no-till drill. Can I get the benefits of the release process simply using hand tools? So I want to take some time today and share with you the results of a small food plot we call this Kingpin. We've tagged a bunch of deer out here throughout the years. It's, gosh, 1/8 of an acre, something like that. And we use hand tools to establish and maintain, there's not a lot of maintenance, this plot. And I want to walk you through how we do it and the results. A year ago last spring, we planted this using hand tools, and you can check out that episode with the link in the description or seeing it on the screen. And then again last fall, we broadcast Green Cover's fall release right over that standing crop. So you can see the milo and stuff in here, clearly no lines, a no-till drill was not used. We did this with the over-the-shoulder broadcast seeder and planted a summer crop, and it did well. Now when we're broadcasting like that and there's material on the ground, a lot of plant vegetation on the ground, not all the seeds making good contact, we plant at almost twice the recommended rate. So let's just say, for easy math, the blend you're planting is to be planted at 50 pounds per acre. Then we would broadcast at 100 pounds per acre. So you see the milo stems, all the tops have been removed and they've worn down, but that was all planted using an over-seeder broadcast. And there were other species in there, clovers and brassicas. That was a warm season, so the brassicas were collards, and it attracted deer and turkey throughout the summer. And then in late August or so, we come in and plant a Green Cover's fall release blend. So that's 2 plantings, and here we are a year later, or almost a year later from that first planting. And I want to show you what's going on. So since then, boy, we've seen a lot of deer in here, both hunting and using our trail cameras. All the milo heads are gone, but we'll show you some close-ups. Look down, there's cereal grains, wheat, rye, that's winter rye, not ryegrass, and oats. Now the oats probably killed out due to winter, and they're a tad bit more palatable, so deer tend to eat them first. But those cereal grains are in there now, and deer still eating on them, and they're developing a root system, bringing nutrients from deep in the soil up to the surface for the next crop. But what deer are really seeking now is all the varieties of clover that are in that fall release blend. Man, when I look down, it's just clover, 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 and leaves. We're right in the middle of a hardwood forest, so a lot of leaves, but clover's just kind of growing up and around. And either from past footage or we'll follow up again in a month or so, this will just be solid knee-high clover in here, or maybe not quite knee-high. And feeding deer, this would be a great strut zone for turkeys. I can already see turkeys like to roost right over here and calling turkeys in here. But right now, bucks are storing calcium. Legumes like clovers or alfalfa are high in calcium, and they're storing calcium in their skeletal system for that big flush of antler growth. And does, they're carrying those fetuses that are pretty big. Just a month or two, they'll be, having fawns. So does are really packing in the nutrients right now. And this high quality clover coming in here is attracting deer. We'll show you some of our videos using the Moultrie mobile camera. It's right over here on a tree beside me. So it's attracting deer now. We've used no herbicide. We literally walked in here and broadcast seed. Now, I did touch it with a little bit of 10-10-10 last fall just to give it a boost, because this area is so small and deer keep it browsed so hard, it's difficult for the full benefits of the release process to be experienced in this smaller plot. When you have a small plot like this and there's just heavy browse pressure, lots of timber all around, there's not like a big food plot right over the hill here, and deer browse more, then you don't get as much top growth above the ground. And if you're not getting that, you're probably not getting as much root growth. Those fine roots aren't reaching as deep in the soil profile and bringing nutrients back up to the surface. That recycle system, that's part of the release process. You will get there over time. But if you're slightly impatient, that first year or two, you may want to do a soil test and put out 50%, maybe even 75% of what's recommended. I'm backing way off fertilizer, especially this year, because fertilizer prices are almost double what they were last year. And fertilizer, most of it, especially nitrogen, is made out of natural gas, or it's highly toxic to the soil. So my soil here, I can tell now by looking at it, I pulled up a couple of milo stems, is looking so good. The roots are covered with dirt, they're not white. And when you get roots covered with dirt, that's a sure enough sign that microbes in the soil are interacting with the roots. They're literally going in and out of the plant's roots, taking nutrients to them. And when you have that economy, the microbes are exchanging nutrients, phosphorus, potassium, trace minerals, for carbon. The plants are photosynthesizing, or in this case the milo did photosynthesize. Photosynthesis takes a lot of carbon out of the air and puts it in the dirt, and it does that through that interchange in the root process. So that economy of a plant taking carbon out of the air and trading it to microbes or bacteria for the elements it needs to grow, once that gets rolling good, you don't need to add fertilizer. Another thing that's making this plot even better, if you look in the background, is we had a contractor we used fell all the cedars in this area. Those cedar roots were reaching out in here, robbing moisture and nutrients from my food plot crop. Now there's still oak trees around, but on the edge of this, there's a 5 to 10 foot buffer that's just dead. There's not much growing. That's because all the competition, shade competing for sun, and all the roots taking moisture and nutrients out of soil. So we've terminated all those cedars by cutting them. And cedars, about 40% of the water that hits the cedar tree never reaches the soil. It's either taken into the tree and stored in the tree or evaporates off. So there'll be more moisture for the plants in this plot this coming growing season, and I expect it will do even better than it has during years past. Man, when I see the videos we're getting right now of turkeys feeding through here and shed bucks feeding in here, I know that's helping them be able to produce even larger antlers this coming year. And all of a sudden, when you've got this amount of clover in here, it's not only just a hidey-ho, or some people say a kill plot, it's providing valuable nutrition to the wildlife in this part of the ranch.
Growing Deer is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Also by Green Cover Food Plots, Winchester, Lacrosse Footwear, Moultrie Mobile, Fleet Outdoor Apparel, Morel Targets, RTP Outdoors, Fourth Arrow, Hunt Stand, Scorpion Venom Archery, Case IH Tractors, Burris Optics, National Land Realty, G5 Broadheads, Prime Bows, and Redneck Hunting Blinds.
We're follow up on this again. I'm sure I'll be turkey hunting around in here. And we're let this mature a lot because we're gonna use hand tools to replant it. So, boy, if I try to plant early, maybe like mid-April or something, this clover is gonna be so big and lush, not many of the seeds will make it to the soil. And the ones that do, even if they're moist and germinate, there's so much competition for the sun, they'll probably be shaded out. So I need to let this get fairly mature. These are annual clovers. They're gonna, grow, make seed, mature, and die. I'll let this ease more towards the mature side so there's some sun reaching the soil. And I'll try to time it where I plant right before too much sun hits the soil. All the nitrogen this clover put in the soil would be perfect for the next crop. And if I don't plant then, I let it go, and all these plants mature and die, sun's getting down there and weeds will grow and use those nutrients. So it's important to use a good summer crop. Now I know there's gonna be a lot of browse pressure in here, and I'm gonna use the new browse pressure release product from Green Cover. That's made specifically for plots like this that get a lot of browse pressure. The species in there can take a higher amount of browse pressure and still be productive. And we'll share all this with you in upcoming episodes. Learning how to use hand tools to establish a food plot of almost any size, that's really depending on how much time and labor you're willing to put into it, is a great way to learn more about the processes that the Creator used to build great quality soil. But even more important than spending some time and energy in creating a food plot, be sure you're putting time and focus, very intentional, about seeking the Creator's will for your life. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.